Alright, so kind of an out of nowhere video for you guys today. I'm going to be telling you guys about my top 5 games from my childhood. So keep in mind that this is my childhood, okay, and I am almost 16, and my childhood is not exactly going to be that long ago, so I'm going to only limit myself to games that were made or created or released before 2010. I know a lot of my viewers are, in fact, actually younger than me, so maybe some of you guys have never heard of these games or never played them, but then there are older viewers out there that are going to say, like, these are just recent, these aren't really childhood, so it really depends on, like, how you are, but this is kind of mostly about me, like, these are going to be my personal favorites. This is not what I think is the best childhood racing game or anything like that. So yeah, but this is what I'm going to talk about, and yeah, hopefully you guys can enjoy this. Started off, we have PGR3. Yeah, it was the very first one, so it had to be so much nostalgia. That game kind of had its own little nostalgia feel to it. Now, if you ever watched any of my really old gaming setup videos, you remember when I went through all my games and I said that PGR3 was my very first ever Xbox game. That's still true. It was my first ever Xbox game. It was released in like 2005 or something, but yeah, I remember it was the first thing we got and we brought it back home with our brand new like white Xbox 360. Yeah, it definitely had to be on this list, and I just have so many good memories from that game. I also played this game with like my dad and other people. There's many of these games that you'll hear in the sec that I played with my dad and all that stuff, but the different maps was definitely one thing that I think made it probably so good. I love Las Vegas. Las Vegas was probably one of my favorites. And then there's just London and New York and just all these different places. And PGR is kind of unique in its way of just kind of setting up its own little Grand Prix circuits all around. And God, it was just such a good game for back at its time. Like its graphics, I look back on it and they're not even that bad to be a 2005 game, I believe. But take in that Forza Motorsport 1 came out in 2005 as well. Next up, I would say Paradise City, Burnout Paradise City. Now, I honestly don't think that Paradise City is any better than PGR3, but if I look back on it, I remember there were certain moments I had in that game that were just really good, and I think I spent probably more time total in playing that game than I did on PGR3. One memory I love to do is getting like, I think it was like the Huntley or something. It was a big 4x4 truck, and you could just go around and go on a rampage and just destroy all the traffic vehicles on the highway. And just kind of like in GTA when you just go off on everything, you could do it in that game, and that game was so open world. It was one of the first games where it kind of had its own little utopia of vehicles, like custom vehicles and stuff like that weren't actually like, in real life. And its graphics were actually really good. It's backwards compatible on Xbox One, so I just literally played it like a couple months ago, and it doesn't like, it's not that much of a downgrade or anything. Now, the reason why I would actually put this game under PGR3 is because it was hard. It was incredibly hard. And I mean, like, I don't mean just difficult. I mean, like, actually rage-inducing. Because I don't know what this was like for you guys that have played it before. But as a kid, okay, I don't know how old I was, 7, 8, 9, whatever. It was so hard. There's so many seconds. You're going so... It feels like you're flying in that game when you're driving really fast. And little moves... Especially since that game is primarily focused on like wrecks and other stuff like that. Little things, and it could just create a huge wreck, and it could put you out of the race. I think it's kind of all over the place because it had really good moments, but it also had a lot of... It's just so difficult. The game was really hard to complete. It was fun not knowing like what your next car you were going to unlock is. You just kind of unlock cars and then you like personally get them for free. I mean, you have to hunt them down and stuff. But it was a really difficult game, and I think that's kind of a downside for it. There's just too much happening at once, and it's so hard to control a vehicle that seems to be traveling that fast. What I would put next on the list that comes above that is Forza Motorsport 2. Now, Forza Motorsport 2 was my first ever Forza game, and I've obviously played Forza Motorsport 1 before, but I played that later on, and Forza Motorsport 2 was the very first one I purchased, I brought home, and I honestly got it not that much later than PGR 3. And this was definitely the simulator out of the games I currently had back then. This is definitely the best physics. It was probably almost the best graphics, I'd say. Looking back at it, I felt like I really didn't do much in Forza Motorsport 2 because it's so old. But when I did kind of go back into it and look at all the stuff, I realized that there's a lot of stuff to it that I kind of don't remember, but I did. There's the whole designing, the whole different races. I remember the like little like Cobra things that you'll see in the menus for like tracks, like different, and then the track like posters and stuff like that. There's stuff like Sunset Peninsula and Maple Valley. I know those are in like a couple later ones too, but still there's a lot of things in that game that, yeah, they just stand out. I remember always wanting to get that Nissan, but I think it was like a special edition or something like that. I was always trying to like build and create that Nissan. But yeah, after watching like the little showcase videos like before you press like start or whatever and stuff, it really brings back the feels to that game. And it's highly recommended. It's a really good game for its time, I think, for 2007. The game's graphics and stuff, just incredible. I don't know what to say. After Forza Motorsport 2, I would have to go with a game that, when I first got it, I would have never imagined that it'd end up on a list full of like all-time greats, but it's here, and it's Test Drive Unlimited. Test Drive Unlimited is such a unique game. I think Test Drive Unlimited was one of the first games that I ever grinded on. And what I mean by that is like do the same thing that's kind of more tactical than just completing the story, just kind of getting that money so you can just purchase stuff. There were a couple events, like I'd start out slowly grinding and I'd find better events as time goes on. There was this one event where I used my Enzo and you would have to like match 60 miles an hour, I believe, on a straight. And you got a lot of money just for like spending like 5 seconds just going up and back on a straight or something like that. So yeah, but all that aside, Test Drive Unlimited is actually, the whole series, everything is so unique about it because you have to think, I played this game before GTA, and even GTA I don't think has this stuff. But the idea of going to a dealership and purchasing your car, and the dealership having like a specific Mercedes-Benz one, and they have all the Mercedes in there, and you just want to like you see like the better looking models than the one you're there to get, and you kind of want to get those too, and just you want to work and get those. And then houses, just house hunting and just finding these mansions and other stuff. I know GTA has now added houses and other stuff like that, but it has nowhere near the same feel that Test Drive Unlimited has, and that's one thing that makes it extremely unique. Now obviously Test Drive Unlimited does have its flaws. The biggest one is physics. Physics is probably an all-time worst for that game. I am so sorry. But there is stuff that need to be fixed. And also, graphics are also kind of an issue. But you have to think that the map is so big. Plus, the map itself was great. Hawaii worked so well. I feel like Forza could do the same, but they'd be copying. So Australia is obviously good enough for now. But the map was great. But yeah, graphics, it was all well thought out and good. I just think that physics, it could have been made better, if you know what I mean by that. And obviously, Test Drive Unlimited 2 would be way up on the list and way above that and better, and there's a bunch of things I can say about that game, but sadly it is made after 2010, so it can't be on the list with us. And yes, I know Test Drive Unlimited 3 should be coming. Alright, next after this would be Forza Motorsport 3. Now, the only reason Forza Motorsport 3 has to be on here is because it's 2009, it's before 2010, and obviously, I think it's better than Forza Motorsport 2. How you can really argue that it's not, because this game is obviously a step up. Every single motorsport is kind of a step up. Yes, other ones may have nostalgia, but every single one gets better graphics and cars and all that stuff like that. Forza Motorsport 3 is kind of like the forgotten middle brother, if you think about it, because Forza Motorsport 4 is probably everyone's all-time favorite, including maybe mine. Forza Motorsport 2 is just back at it with the roots, you know, and I mean FM1 is but when I look back on it and I see some of the videos and other things like that, I realize that Forza Motorsport 3 actually was kind of a big step forward for Turn 10 and everything. That De Montserrat, I believe that's how you say it, that new map that was added there. Audi R8 was the big thing for that. There was Sedona. I remember they had those short little clips where the drifting cars were on Fujimi Kato, okay? Fujimi frickin' Kato. I don't even know if I'm saying that right either, but I believe that had to be introduced in that game, and that was literally game-breaking, okay? I want my Fujimi Kato back because that's probably one of the best all-time tracks in the Forza franchise. And yes, I was just talking about there's a like game clip or something that you could find. They made it, and there's like a bunch of cars just drifting professionally on it. And oh gosh, those are just the feels and everything. So yeah, Forza Motorsport 3 definitely has to be up here. And that leaves Forza Motorsport 3 as number 3 so far, and now we're gonna move on to number 2. Number 2 will be PGR4, Project Gotham Racing 4, and yes, that comes after PGR3. The reason why this game is so high up here is that I found PGR4 better than Forza. At the time, I can't say that now because obviously they don't make them anymore. I really wish they did because, yeah, if I look back on it, I truly believe that PGR, this franchise, is better than the old Forza Motorsports because it was just more fun. There was just more fun things to do. I think it had to be mostly because I played like split screen and I played with other people. But like the environments and the fun things you can do, I think the races itself in PGR were way more fun than the Forza Motorsport races, which were simulating, so they were kind of a bit more boring for a kid my age like that. I played the heck out of this game with my friend Daniel, aka Fishy or whatever. We had a bunch of times where we'd come over to each other's houses and play split screen. I'd also do the same thing with my dad. This game had something called System Link, and the way that works is that you have two Xbox 360s in the same house. It's just local connection. I know other games and stuff have that as well, but many of the games that I had along with PGR4 was the only one that actually had the System Link. So I mean, my dad kind of went all out, and I don't think he really acknowledged the whole Xbox Live thing, or maybe he just didn't want me so young on Xbox Live, so that's why he bought 2 Xboxes, and that is how we played together. And gosh, it was St. Petersburg was such a good map. Yeah, you also had motorcycles. You had cars like the McLaren F1 LM, and then you had other stuff like the Aston Martin DBR9. You had all these crazy good cars. That game also first had rain before FM6 did. And it had night and just had so many different things to it. And the fact that they haven't, hopefully they make one in the future, but the fact that there's no plans for one right now just is really upsetting because I think that game was in fact better than the old Forza Motorsport. So yes, if you still have a 360, most of these games I'm listing off, if you still have a 360 and you just are really poor on games, or you're dying for something, play some of these old nostalgia games. So that leaves us off to number 1. What can number 1 be? And you might be surprised by this. You may never have heard of this before. You may be downright agreeing with me on this, or you just might be pissed off for me about this. But this game takes it just because of a feeling in my heart that this game has to win it. And that is Midnight Club Los Angeles. Boy, this game, I can talk about it for so long. There's so much to this game, you have no idea. I feel like this game was perfect in so many levels because the story was good. The whole system of earning your cars was perfect. It made you work for it, but not to the point like Paradise City where you raged, or to the point like, I don't know, maybe GTA where it's just impossible to get what you need. The customization was unbelievable, okay? All games, okay? All new games, like Forza especially and stuff. Headlights and taillights, okay? You need to have customizable headlights and taillights, which what Midnight Club had, okay? And I know that's kind of a Rice thing to do, you know, those silver and like other stuff that you see in Honda Civics, but certain cars it works, okay? And I really miss that. I know Need for Speed 2015, I think maybe had an option for that, and some other games obviously do as well, but that game had it really good. And I know other customizations, just bumpers and everything in that game was done really well. There's always way more customization options for a car than you ever thought there was going to be. Painting was okay. Obviously, Forza has to take painting by far, but the map as well. The map is probably one reason why I gave the nostalgia feels. I found Midnight Club LA's map better than Los Santos and GTA, and it's kind of hard to say that, but I really think so. And obviously that map is more, it's straight replicated. It's obviously small, but it's straight replicated, whereas GTA Los Santos is kind of its own little thing. And then you have actual real life cars in that game versus GTA. You don't. The reason why I'm comparing it to GTA, both made by Rockstar, okay? Very similar. Soundtrack was great. Cops were annoying. I'll give it that.
He's pulled over. Stand by, friend.
Trying to get away. Suspect is taking over. I started the Trans Am and I am in pursuit.
But that game probably did do Cops as a whole the best. I mean, there's many other games out there that don't really know how to do police. But overall, Midnight Club LA, when I went to go check back on it and see what that game was like after like 5 years, it probably brought me the most nostalgic feels. That game, yeah, that game, I highly recommend it. I hope it comes backwards compatible, or even better, I hope Rockstar makes another one, because I know a lot of people are requesting for one and stuff. I'd take another Midnight Club over GTA 6. I'm gonna say that right now. I would take another Midnight Club over GTA 6. Call me crazy, but I want it. I mean, I would like it in Los Angeles again, but oh, the game was really good. So, that is my top childhood games. Obviously, a lot are repeated. There's 2 PGRs, there's 2 Forzas in it, and so it's alright. There's that. I know a lot of people had Need for Speed Carbon as a nostalgic game. I did not play much of that at all. I do remember taking it, but I have low memory on like the game, so I can't really rate it myself. I can't put on much like personal info. I'm sure I missed a bunch, so what I want you guys to do is obviously comment down below what your favorite is. Even if I already just mentioned it in my list, comment it still. Just say it's your #1 favorite game as a kid, or just back in the day and stuff. So yeah, will games ever get, you know, back to this nostalgic point? The whole point of nostalgia is that it's back in the past. So, you know, you're just gonna have to see. I know a lot of you guys may not agree with this list at all, so that's not what it's about. Like most lists or personal lists, this is my childhood, so I really can't I can't explain to you why these are good, because they just give me the nostalgic feel. You can't explain nostalgia as a rating system, okay? Even though I kind of just did. So please don't try to judge me too much on my list. But anyway, yeah, please comment down what's your favorite. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
That is so dumb!